All right, something cool here is with Fire Follows. How you doing, man?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
Doing real good, man. Glad you asked. Actually, my day is getting a little bit better because I just listened to your new track, Can't Get You Out of My Head, and the song was amazing.
Awesome, dude. I'm so glad to hear that.
So tell me a little bit about this track, man.
So it's I guess we call it, hard rock, new metal, but there's a lot of piano and kind of string components, especially to this song. And it's one of those songs that's trying to capture that moment of like loss and letting go, and the difficulty that can be associated with doing that, and trying to really tap into what that feels like, kind of at its rawest point. And the chorus lyric, or the first couple lines, "I can't get you out of my head, spite of the monster you are," and it's kind of that tug of war that I think everybody feels, um, when you want to break something free from your life, whether it was a relationship or addiction or anything else, and it just feels like it's not going away as easily as you might have wanted it to. So that's what that track's trying to capture.
Now, does this song have any personal connections to you?
Yeah, for sure. So I wrote it. That chorus lyric probably came out a year or two ago, and it took me a little while to figure out how I wanted to sort of build the rest of the song out. But I was definitely going through some stuff in my life at the time. That I had some friends, some people close to me that were going through very similar stuff, and so it just felt like, wow, this is I don't know, kind of a universal theme right now. So we tried to put it together.
Cool, man. Well, I love what you did. It was definitely an awesome track for sure.
Awesome, good. Appreciate it.
I got a kick out of that video, man. It was like a behind the scenes type deal.
Sorry, say it again, bro. I couldn't hear
I got a kick out of your music video. It was kind of like a behind the scenes type deal.
you. Yeah. We released a song called Black and White, I think like 6 months ago, 5 or 6 months ago. And we did an actual music video for that one, but we had so much B-roll footage from that shoot that we were able to use it as kind of the visual, and then put the lyrics on top. So basically, the "Can't Get You Out of My Head" video is a lyric video with the B-roll stuff from what was the black and white shoot. So trying to reuse as much of it as we can.
Hey, man, during these times, you got to for sure. You know,
Oh, dude, for sure.
it kind of explains why the mouth didn't match up to the words.
Say what?
That kind of explains why the mouth didn't match up to the words. You know what I mean? Thought I was watching.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's so funny. Our video guy is awesome. He was trying to like line it up. Of course, it's totally different time signature. I thought he did a pretty good job, given what he's working with.
No, man, I'm just busting your balls. It worked out good. It looked really cool. Now, this is what the third single you put out so far this year.
Yeah, it's the second one this year. We put out Black and White. I'll have to go back and look. I think it was like October or November of 2020. And we were going to release the whole EP last year, and then obviously the world just shut down. So we thought it's probably a better idea just to do singles. Got Black and White out there, and then it just made sense this year to, instead of releasing everything at once, just to do basically 4 or 5 single drops, kind of coming into the summer, and then start releasing, I guess, new music on top of that. So this will be number 2. This year we'll have 2 more in the next 6 to 8 weeks, something like that, and then just keep rolling them out.
I dug that last track you just released, that Glass Grenades. It reminded me of
Got it.
a metal version of Richard Marx.
Oh, a metal version of what?
Richard Marx.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah,
So,
I did an interview. I forget the kid's name, young kid on YouTube, and he was saying that it reminded him of I can't remember who it was. It was some '80s, really prolific '80s artist, and I was like, "Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. I'll take it."
for sure, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's definitely cool.
yeah.
Now, it's got to be different, man, taking the approach of doing singles, but it kind of only makes sense right now. I mean, you put out a full album, it could get lost in the mix. I mean, who knows when you could really get back out on the road?
Preach, man. It's so true. And when you're not touring, when you're not playing anything, how do you keep promoting the same, like, what you just post on social media every day about the same track? It's like you don't have anything new to roll out. So I don't see how else it's supposed to work right now unless you've got new material coming out every month or so. It gets a little redundant trying to hype the same album when you're not actually going and playing it.
It's crazy, man. I mean, there's so many artists that had stuff that came out that got lost in the mix. I can remember about this time last year talking to Framing Hadley, and they just put out a new album. It was their first time back with like 15, 20 years of being broken.
Yeah.
Nobody knows about it. You know what I mean? They put out the album, they couldn't tour it back, and it just disappeared, you know?
It's so true. Yeah. And then once you put something like that out, if it doesn't catch right away, it's old news. So even if, people stumble onto it 6 months down the road, I mean, it's not a good look when it's been sitting out there for half a year or whatever, and it didn't pick up any traction,
Not only that, I mean, labels too, they got to be thinking in the back of their head, like, hopefully this ends sooner than later. They don't want you to put out a full album because you're going to have to write another album in between before you can tour again. I mean, could you imagine having two
Yeah.
albums out before you can even hit the road?
No, it's exactly right, man. Yeah, you've got to be, I guess, wise about how you're rolling this stuff out so that you don't bury yourself. Because yeah, otherwise that shit's just going to slip into the ether, and yeah, forget about it.
So with states opening up, I see more and more say that the virus is gone. In your mind as a musician, do you fall into that? Are you planning on doing some of them southern states that are opening up?
Yeah. So yeah, for sure. Fire Follow started out as just kind of a solo project for me here in my studio. And then in the last year or so, I've brought in 2 or 3 different musicians, Emily Gould playing drums, Tim Younger doing some backup vocal rap screen stuff with me. And it's sort of right as we were kind of getting everything geared up to start actually trying to go out and play this thing live is when, early, whatever, 2020, the virus hit. So it kind of shut everything down that we were trying to do. But as soon as we kind of figure out, I guess, when everything's going to be open enough, I'll get them back down here and we'll start rehearsing again and try to get this thing put together so that we can get out on the road this year. Otherwise, I don't know what we're supposed to do. Just keep cranking out stuff,
It's crazy too, as a musician. It's, not only is it frustrating not being able to make money, but just sitting still's got to be hard. I mean, especially singing, what do you do if you don't let your voice go through all it? I mean, going back out on the road, you're going to forget, lyrics, you're going to forget techniques you used,
Yeah, it's so true, man. You've got to stay sharp. Like, I know that Emily, I talk to her all the time. I mean, she's constantly rehearsing just on her own. But I run the set every day just here at in my studio, just to make sure like we can hit the ground running. Cause yeah, dude, you don't touch something like that for a month or two, and it takes a minute to bring it all back, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it just makes you think. I mean, I was just watching an interview with Chuck Billy from Testament, and
yeah,
it might even been the same kid that interviewed you, a young kid. He asked him, he was like 9 years old. He asked him if his voice got affected from having from COVID. He said he doesn't know. He hasn't sang in a year.
Yeah.
The whole time he's got it. So he said it's going to be a new experience starting back up.
Yeah, I think you just hope that the muscle memory is there. But there's going to be a lot of guys, especially a lot of guys and girls, a lot of singers with some serious anxiety coming into those first shows going, do I still remember how to do this?
Mm-hmm. Shows in general are going to be scary starting back up, man. You ain't gonna, someone's gonna sneeze in the crowd, and you're gonna be like, "Holy shit!" I gotta take a couple steps back. I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, absolutely.
It just makes me wonder, man. Like a lot of bands out there are gonna have a hard time surviving during all this off time. I mean, not having income of touring. And unfortunately, you can pump out as many singles as you want, but people don't want to pay for music.
Yeah.
Which has got to be super hard for you as a musician, not having that main income source being there.
Yeah, it's brutal, man. And it is going to be interesting just to see how it all plays out. I mean, fortunately for me, because I'm so much more of kind of like a studio, I don't know, rat or whatever. I just love creating content and cranking it out. Like, of all artists, like I can probably work with this better than most of the bands that are sort of built more around touring and less around their own studio production stuff. But even then, like when this thing really gets back on the rails, whatever that ends up looking like, yeah, it'll be interesting to see who's even still there, right? I mean, I just had no idea. So I think just trying to stay ready is literally the only thing you can do right now. And then of course, just crank out as much content as possible to try to keep fans and everybody else engaged.
I mean, me here, I'm in New York, and I'm getting the Facebook reminders that it was literally 1 year today that like the lockdown went in full effect, and it's just crazy to think of how everything changed for everybody, but let alone the music industry got hit the hardest.
I know. And I don't remember obviously all the details. Like what was it like when it first hit? They said 10 days to flatten the curve or 14 days to flatten the curve or something like that, whatever it was. It was a short duration. And here we are a year later.
Exactly. It's still not, I mean,
Yep.
it's got to be different though, just having someone tell you that you're not allowed to do what you do for a living. You know what I mean? It's like, sorry, but ain't gonna happen. And
Yep.
now even more crazy that it's okay for this state to say, yeah, go ahead and do it. But
I know.
the state right next to it says there's no way you can't even do anything. You can't stay open past 11 o'clock, let alone have a concert.
Yeah, I saw I'm trying to think. I think it was Red. Like right after Texas announced their, complete lifting of all the lockdown stuff. I want to say it was like the next day they had whatever it was, 4 or 5 shows scheduled. So I think that's pretty cool. Like those guys, obviously, they've been, hitting the road like crazy for the last God knows how many years. But like the minute that stuff opened up, they were booked out and ready to head down there. So I think that's what it's going to be then. Just a lot of like take advantage of what you can, super hit and miss. And it might not be very long stints. It might just be a lot of like 4 or 5 show kind of turnarounds. But yeah, it's the music industry, man. It's yeah, it'll find a way.
It goes like this. I mean, right now there's only so many venues and there's only so many dates. And
Yep.
every band in the world is itching to get back out there. So yeah, you
Yep.
got to snag up what you can while you can.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. Yeah, it'll be a little bit lean for a while, but again, we'll see. I mean, it's just crazy to think of the way the industry, dating back 10, 15, 20 years has shifted and evolved and like how susceptible it is to stuff like this. I mean, obviously technology comes in and flips this thing upside down. But there's just so many different ways that it can be negatively affected. It's pretty crazy. But, people love what they do. So there's always going to be people creating music and creating content and trying to figure out ways to make it work.
How do you stay proactive? I mean, right now we're doing an interview to promote the song that gets released on Friday. I mean, do you already have the next single in mind and what time you want to things like that?
Yep, you got it. So as far as staying like motivated, it's super hard. Like this by far the last 12 months has been, I've usually had no problem getting in the studio and just writing and, getting new stuff. This year's been tough, but we're still making it happen. So we've got 2 more songs that we'll release as singles after this one.
Mm-hmm.
So those are ready to go, lined up. That's already scheduled out. And then I've got, I think, 3 more right now that I feel like are pretty much ready to send out for mixing and mastering. So that gives us at least after this release 5 songs that will just, like I said, 4 to 6 weeks, roll them out and just try to keep some momentum going for everybody's sake. Otherwise, it's like what we've been talking about. It'll stagnate so fast. But yeah, just literally my only thing right now is like keep creating content, stay ready when the live show stuff, when the opportunities come back again, and that's it. It's just like trying to stay as plugged in as we can doing that stuff.
See, right now, I truly feel that the fans are the lucky ones in this deal. I mean, with fans only putting out singles instead of a full album, they're really spending the time to make sure that next single is definitely going to be a hit song. You know what I mean? Instead of
100%.
Every album's got a couple pieces of shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, well, and that's a good point too, because that changes the way that you write songs. It really does. Like if you're writing in the context, and I know albums aren't what they used to be, right? You're not going to have concept albums, but even if you're releasing a 3-song EP or a 5-song EP, if it's not a full length, I think every band is still kind of, you're trying to create some kind of balance, right? Like, okay, so you're a hard rock new metal band, right? So you're going to have a really heavy song, probably. You're going to have kind of more of a ballad type song, and then you're going to have a few that sit in the middle and maybe do something different, just so you've got some kind of balance to it. But when you're doing singles, that goes out the door. You're trying to refine everything or distill it down to like the absolute best, most kind of consumable or like viable version of itself. Yeah, so we'll see. I think for like what Fire Follows does, that's a really good thing. Because I just feel like the types of songs we write lend themselves more to that. 3-minute kind of just, radio single, get it out. Like that's sort of our formula, I guess, anyway. But it will be interesting. It will change the way that people write for sure if everyone's going for singles all the time.
100%. Like I said, man, you can only put out your A game. And like you have the option of saying, if you don't like this song, they might like the other song that's on the album. Now, when there's only one option,
yeah,
way to win over your fans. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. And talk about a way too to flop, right? It's the only one you release, and everyone goes, "Oh no, that's a piece of shit."
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Definitely a game changer. But I'm glad to
yeah,
see
yeah.
fans like yourself are making things work and pushing through all this madness.
Yeah.
People want to follow up with you. They want to take a look at this video. They want to know more about more singles, or hopefully maybe get some dates for the summer. Where do they go? What do they do to follow up with you?
Yeah. So obviously, any social media, everything is generally at either like at Fire Follows or at Fire_follows, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Especially on YouTube, like we've been really active, especially trying to make sure that we're engaging everybody on there. So when the video drops on, I actually don't know off the top of my head what time it'll come out Friday. I think it'll be delayed. So it'll probably be sometime like early evening Friday. But all of our fans, like I encourage them to just comment in the YouTube section and let us respond to it and try to get kind of a dialogue going between everybody. And we've seen a lot of cool kind of community interaction type stuff happen in there. So obviously, do that on all socials. But we've really, really, really made a concerted effort to try to get back to everyone damn near immediately. We got the time right now. So I would.
That's awesome though. You know what I mean? Like I think it really means a lot to a fan when they reach out and actually get a response from a band,
Yeah, absolutely. It's changed the game. I mean, I think about when I was growing up, and obviously when I was 10, 15 years old, like the social media stuff wasn't there. The thought of like messaging like I don't know, like a Breaking Benjamin or something and getting a message back, like it would have blown my mind, right? So like the fact that we can now do that for these fans that like our music, it's really cool, man.
Not only that, man, it gives the fan a special moment, but it also gives the fan a story to tell. I mean, the next day, be around and be like, you ain't gonna believe who I just talked to, man. It was actually them. I mean, don't get me wrong, three out of the 4 of his friends are gonna tell him that he's lying and he was talking to a fucking robot or a pretend person, but it was you.
No, it's so true, man. You're absolutely right. Yeah, it just gives it, and again, it like helps to build that kind of, I don't know, that communal feel where it's like, because you'll see the same people coming back, right? So like the people that were really invested in the video we released a couple years ago, the first Loaded Gun music video, back through If It's War You Want, and then Black and White and Glass Grenade, like we mentioned earlier, like you can sort of see that community start to take shape, and now they start talking amongst themselves. That's pretty cool, man.
So right now, next couple of weeks, everyone's going to be flush in their pockets with a couple extra bucks to spend. You guys got any stimulus sales on your site for merch or anything like that?
As far as like merch sales, is that what you're asking?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll definitely throw some coupon codes or something up here for the next week or two. It's a good idea. Actually, you know what I meant? I'll talk to everyone. We'll get something up on Friday when we release it. We'll have at least like a week or two of discount code stuff going on for merch.
Yeah, man, now's the time. People got those bucks. You might as well jump on it. But cool, man. I appreciate your time. I love this track, and I can't wait to see what's next from you. Hopefully one day we get to kick back, have a beer, and watch you live in person one day when the world opens.
Oh yeah, sounds great to me, man.
All right, buddy. Thanks again. Take care.
Yeah, appreciate it, bro. That's it.